and the road was allocated 5,583,000,000. Yeah. And so when we went, we tried to navigate through the road. And guys, honestly, if you have gone through my posts today, then you'll find out that 583 million and the work that done on that road, honestly, hata ifiki karibu. It's just shoddy work, because we reached at a certain place in just between, I think, sijui ni Belgut or what, and we find there were young men on the same road who were trying to fill the potholes on the road, and so they were using the jembe to dig sand somewhere to come and fill those potholes. And then the travelers, of course, wanasimamishwa on that road to pay some token, kama ni 10 bob 20 bob to those guys. And so si tulifika hapo, of course, we don't have money to pay, or we don't have much, and so we talked to those guys, tukauliza exactly what they are doing there, and they explained. Yeah, and you through the videos that I shared, you'll see that I was trying to interview them, and after doing that, also trying to tell them exactly what happened on that road, because when you go through the database of how the roads have been allocated the funds, you find that the government of Kenya allocated that road 583 million. And then after there, we went to Kericho airstrip, a certain airstrip in Kericho. This airstrip was allocated 60 million. And the 60 million, sorry for the background noise, tuko tu hapa tumetulia after that work. We are in a certain place in a room, tunataka tupumzike, but I said, let me have this space here to update you on what happened. And so, this airstrip, it was allocated 60 million, na the government of Kenya. Your airstrip, when you went there, the runway, it's Maram, they have never done anything. And then we walked inside that airstrip. Ng'ombe still wanakula hapo nyasi, donkeys wana graze hapo. So you find out that nothing happened even after the government of Kenya allocated that airstrip 60 million. Then after that, we went to Green Stadium, still in Kericho County. The Green Stadium, it hosted last year's, was it last year? I think it was last year's Mashujaa Day. Yeah. And so when we went to that stadium, I'm told that the government of Kenya had allocated over 400 million for the upgrade of that stadium, to set up facilities in that stadium. And of course, I shared the video here on this platform. You'll find out that even the changing room, where if there are games there, of course, the players, they need to have somewhere called the change room, where they have to change from their clothes to the official attire of the match. And then that video that I posted, and you realize that this place was allocated 400 million, then honestly, you will just realize that the government we are having, it's a joke. And so after doing all that, we try to talk to people, within this the Rift Valley region, and we told them exactly what we want, why we want the streets, and why we want probably some leaders to go because of the track records, the corruption cases, the tribalism cases. Some of them they were resonating with us. I mean, most of them, but there were some of a few who had so many questions, and I was even surprised that someone told me, how much has Ruto stolen from you nikurudishie? And so I never answered that person. And so that's what we've been doing here, guys. Just in case you want to join us still, you can do it. You can join us because we are still in the Rift Valley region, yeah, for the next 2 days. Then on Monday we'll be done with what we are doing here. We go relax as we wait to go to other places. So I wanted to update you guys to tell you that we are still here. Those in Kisii, I know you guys were waiting for us, but there are some unavoidable circumstances. We had to rush to the Rift Valley counties because we had promised to tour those places. So that's my feedback to you guys. I told you the other day that I'll have a space here, even if it will be at midnight, just to update you what we've been seeing here on the ground. And of course, my advice to you guys that get out of your comfort zones. Yeah, come out here, talk to people. Yeah, educate them. Yeah, inject in them, ensure that we are transforming this nation because what I came to realize is that people lack information. Yeah, and of course, some even lack knowledge of what is happening. And if you don't have that knowledge of what is happening, then you'll be blindfolded. Yeah, you'll be blindfolded by these politicians who call themselves leaders, but they're not leaders. And so, honestly, after touring Kericho County, my what I view about Kericho County is that the county is so beautiful, but now they have ugly leaders. Because if we can locate millions of money on the projects, but then these millions of money, they are going to people's pockets, it means that we even don't, those leaders don't even have respect for themselves. They don't respect the people they are serving. And so it's high time, guys, that not just the young people, but the entire nation, we unite and we ensure that we bring sanity in our nation. Else, wherever we are heading, this country will be like anybody. If you want to get out of the poverty region, it means that you have to go for a political seat to vie for that seat, and immediately you are elected, the only thing you can do there is to loot. And so we need to remove such mind from Kenyans. Yeah, and so the only thing that can bring change currently is civic education. Educate these people. If we are targeting probably 30 million people to be educated, then be rest assured that more than 20 million will resonate with the idea of bringing sanity in our nation. And so that is it. If you have a question, just request the microphone. I'll approve, and then you can pose the question. I saw Baha here. I don't know where he is. He had requested to speak here, but he just dropped. So I think I'll give you like 3 minutes. You request the mic, you pose that question, or you can even share what you feel. And then after that, we call it a night because it's too late here. And tomorrow we need to wake up very early in the morning to go to the ground again. So, James, I can see you've requested. Good evening. James? James, are you able to speak? Okay, I can see Esther. Good evening.
Good evening, Keote. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you have a question or any comment?
I have only a comment just to say you're doing good work, and that is very impressive. And what I really know is that our country will be back to its state. It is only a matter of unity with every citizen, and I'm sure one time when that unity will be, we will make this country come to an ultim or a stop of this maybe corruption, that the leaders don't see as corruption. They just see is the way to go in when they are in the office. And so I would be happy one day when I will see that our leaders whom we choose, they're not really doing the wrong accountability with our nation. We will have honesty with our nation, and that will be my happiness. Even if it takes how many years, how many minutes, how many ages, that will be my prayer one day. So asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. And of course, personally, I believe we are within the jurisdiction of our nation. And so, my question to you, Esther, you as a young person, I know you are of my age. What are you doing? What are you doing to ensure that we have that change? Just a question, a simple question to you.
I would say, personally, I'm at Kitui, and I am also at a award called Zombe Mweteka Award. And this is a place where the party of UDA has reigned in many of our wards. That is Kitui East. Most of the MCAs, they won through UDA. So that means they're supporting our to educate and tell them the reality of the small shillings that they think is the mandate for government to just loot it. But when they come to their own thinking and understanding, they find that is money that should not be misused. Like, for example, we have Kitui. There's a TVET in Kitui East, which the MP promised that has paid for the new students, but literally that was just a lie. That it was out of a way of just convincing the Zombe Mweteka that has paid for the new members who are joining the school. So I'm trying my best to have conversation with every individual I meet. So that is what I'm doing on my end.
Okay. Thank you so much, Esther, and of course, continue doing the Lord's work. Yeah, you know, we've always believed that we want to leave this nation better than we find it, and so by doing exactly what you've said here on this space, it means that you doing the Lord's work. Yeah, so continue injecting, continue putting your leaders on toes for them to account for each and every project, each and every shilling they are given, because those money are ours. Yeah, we are the taxpayers, and so continue doing that. James, are you there? I suspect if James is able to speak, and of course we have our professor here, Professor Kibwana. Professor Kivuta Kibwana has been a person who has really stood with this movement, and you find out that even before we the Gen Zs went on the streets and of course realized that we need to do civic education, Prof. Kibwana had written a book for civic education, and of course I have that copy and I've been sharing with you guys. And so I just want to welcome him to say a word, and then of course we proceed with the conversation. Prof, karibu.
Asante sana Court, and congratulations for the work that you guys were doing today. You have been doing with Morara and others. Poleni kwa kazi. I just wanted to say kitu kidogo tu kwa sababu hii ni conversation yenu, and people like us we try where we are asked to just be of assistance, because it is you guys who must develop into that different leadership that will not do the wrong things that are happening in this generation of the people who are in power and even earlier generations. So you have a lot of responsibility as you that will transform our country. Just from what you told us, I like the fact that there is a ground injection, there is express injection, there is a injection in other social media, and so the injection is really going, and I hope and I wish that what you find, it should be documented everywhere. It begins to become material for further political education. It is shared, and when you go a place, I hope you are leaving people to do the same work, so that you plant. It's like missionary work. Like you say, you're doing the Lord's work. So when missionaries, go a place, they leave, other people now on ground, trying to continue the work. And of course, one looks at what you're doing as a very powerful form of political education. The others who are going into matatus, the others who are, doing many, many things, so that it is like a reincarnation of street power. This is knowledge power, and so really, people grow within what you're doing, and people create the Kenya we want. And what is the manifesto? What are the things that should be? And even actually, one point was, and I think Esther mentioned it, was you did not get hostility from the people. Even the person who was asking how much has Ruto stolen so that I can refund. During our time, sometimes in the 90s, you could go to certain places and the people would be hostile because they thought you are trying to remove their guy from power. But even when they ask many questions, that is good, that is how it starts, then they continue to melt, they continue to understand. And the fact that even people in some places protect you against marauding MPs, or even people say, pesa kidogo ya fuel, that is really a big thing. And it's really my prayer as you go to all the places, eventually in each ward, 1450 of them, there will be presence of people who are injecting and creating the kind of political framework that you believe you will occupy, and it will take you and our country. Good work.
Oh, okay. So I even thought we've lost our professor, but yeah, of course. The idea of going to places, injecting. James, just a minute. Going to places, talking to people and explaining to them what is exactly happening and trying to mentor even others and to leave them on the ground is a very good idea. And I welcome that idea from Professor Kibwana. And so, guys, let us do this. I believe we are the people that this nation wants. So, thank you, Professor. But I lost you at some minute. I don't know if you are done with your submission. I ain't sure about that. But
question. Hello, guys.
Okay.
Hello, guys. How are you? Could you hear me?
We are good. Just
I want to ask a question about what Esther said. How would the government is accountable for the resources they are giving to the people of Kenya? Especially my constituency, where I come from. There are some MP promised things that cannot even be accountable for. And if you can see that, like I am a person who one day he came in a certain school, then he came and promised that he'll pay for the students money. But he was not eligible to pay the school fees. So why is it that this government is coming to be accountable for the things that are happening? No, they cannot. I'm through.
so, James, just to answer your question and of course your concern.
Yeah.
The government have not been, of course, brought to that accountability state. And so if we pump in pressure, if we want to know exactly what is happening, if we go through probably the
let me ask you. Let me ask
just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm saying that currently we have the Auditor Generals, and that Auditor General has been posting the report of how our funds have been used. Yeah, and of course, even apart from that, we also have these social media platforms. We have even the news agencies. We have the television. Of course, when these people are going to places, they promise things like now, for instance, now the president, he can go to Nyanza province and he says, I've allocated 50 million to this project. So if we hear about that and probably after some times we realize that what he promised has not happened, then let us not keep quiet. Yeah, let us inquire more about the monies that were put in such projects. Yeah, how they have been spent and how much is the balance. Even if it's to go deeper and request for the payment receipts, because our constitution allows us to access information from the public information. So it means that if we are going to put them on toss, then it will be so hard for them to actually steal and I mean to steal those money from our coffers the way they've been doing. And so it means that if we go hard on them, they wouldn't be doing exactly what they've been doing in the recent past. So that's what I believe that that should happen. And by doing that, I think we'll bring the change we want. Yeah, because if you don't speak about an issue, then that person, you are giving that person more energy to continue and do it. You are giving that person more energy to continue to steal.
Excuse me, Kidogo.
James?
Yes, this government is coming to be accountable for what is happening. But today, as per today,
I'm losing you, James. Toria, can you hear James?
No.
James, we are losing you. I don't know if you can rectify your mic or your internet, then come back. So we have Voice of Tongaren. Jambo.
Yes, KOT, thank you. So I'm still on the road. Let me look for a place before I can continue to speak.
Haujafika bana. I've pinned you the location, ufike haraka. Sawa.
Yeah. I'm on the way. Let me look for a place yenye imetulia and then we will proceed. So let me hand over the mic to somebody else.
Okay. I can see Daktari Onyango is here. Dr. Onyango and the group, we are working on a certain press conference on the issue of that the cash crop bill that is currently the seeds bill that's currently in the parliament. Daktari, jambo.
Yes, the jambo KOT. How are you today?
I'm good bana. Tuambie.
Asante sana. I got when I was checking my notifications just before I would switch off for the day, then I saw these about grassroots civic education, and I thought to just pop in before I retire. Yeah, so thank you. I think it's a good initiative, grassroots civic education. Yeah, to those in the call, I think I came in when Prof. Kibwana was speaking. Good insights from there. And all who have gone. My name is, I'm Dr. Duncan Onyango. I am an engineer by profession. I specialize in water and environmental engineering. I teach at the Technical University of Kenya, School of Chemical and Environmental Engineering. So we have been together in the trenches with KOT and many others during this revolution. And I am glad with the way things are shaping up right now, especially the topic at hand today, where we are now moving this conversation beyond these spaces down to Mwananchi at the very grassroots level. So that really elates me, because that is where this revolution belongs. The Mwananchi at the grassroots level. I was talking to some people and I was telling them that this gospel of change must be preached to all villages. For a witness, then shall the change come. I'm sure those who read the Bible understand me in that context. So this message must go down to the common Mwananchi. When we talk about these the punitive agriculture bills that have been proposed in Parliament, that message must go down to Wanjiku and to Wanyama and to Otieno and to everyone at the grassroots level, so that they can be able to understand what this holds for them. And I was glad earlier in the week, I was somewhere in Embu, a village called Gidemu, and we were there. We had actually been invited to go and speak to the congregation on a funeral. I hadn't imagined that I will be standing one day doing civic education in a funeral. Oh, by the way, KOT, it was one of the young men you sent me during the Nani Nani revolution. Remember that young man that came all the way from Embu? And I received him in the night and hosted him. Unfortunately, he lost his mom. And he insisted that, I want you to come, and I want you to come with a team, so that even though we are mourning, but I want you to pass a strong message to the people of Embu. And I was glad the way the ground is very receptive to these issues of change. We were able to inject a lot there, and even talk to them directly about these issues that are happening, including the Murima politics that are currently ongoing. And people are very receptive to this message down there. So it's a clear indication to us that really they told us clearly that you guys need to come here more often, come and talk to us, let us know what is happening. And when you talk to them about the things we are doing, like on these agriculture bills, now we are talking about the Horticultural Crops Authority bill, they're really wondering, are you sure this is what is happening? Yeah, mbona hatujawahi sikia? So, and when you sit down or you sit them down, take a moment and explain it, break it down to them, they really appreciate and they really get to understand that message. So I think that is where that is the direction that now the movement is taking, and we need to have more and more of us talking about it. Then yesterday I was invited to speak to a comrades forum at my own Technical University of Kenya, where we had about more than 300 comrades, and I was talking to them about the things that affect them. We just had the whole issue of university funding, and we were actually wondering that why does the country seem to be retrogressing? If 30 years ago university education was free, yeah, and people would learn for free and eat for free at the mess and still be given boom. But then now, in 2002, primary education was free. We would be expecting that by now we would be talking about free secondary education and even free university education, but that is not the situation. So those are some of the things we were discussing with them. And they, just like the village in Embu, even the university students there, really, because there were issues that were talking to them. In fact, we just finished a strike that we had industrial action that ran for a whole month at the Technical University of Kenya because systems were not working. So these are issues that affect them directly, and they sit down, they are willing to listen, and they ask you, what can we do as young people to be able to change the situation, or is it that all is lost? So I think one thing again that we have to do is to tell these people that all is not lost. The power lies with us, and we are the change that we need. So finally, maybe just an overview of what we are doing. We have heard about the agriculture bills, the nut and oil crops bill, the agricultural professionals bill. Now, Sabina Chege recently introduced the Horticultural Crops Authority bill. And if you read some of those bills, they are meant to take away food sovereignty from the farmer. And a lot of authority is being given to government agencies, the minister, and now even the new authorities that are proposed to be created, such that to be able to do some simple things like planting your vegetables and taking them to the market, you are told that you need a license that you renew annually to be able to do that. And failure to do so, you could be subject to imprisonment for up to 3 years and even a fine of up to 1 million. So how you would go to be able to implement this with a mama mboga down in the village to be able to do such things. So when we put out a call, we had a space last week that was hosted by KOT here, and people overwhelmingly reached out to us after that. I think even the Ministry of Agriculture released a statement trying to distance themselves from those bills, that tumesikia vitu kwa mtandao. We want to tell you that those bills do not originate from the ministry. But the reality is that those bills are in Parliament, and if passed, they are going to have far-reaching implications on our food sovereignty. So there we placed a general call, and within 24 hours, so many Kenyans had come on board. In fact, there was a WhatsApp group that we put up for people who are interested, lawyers, farmers, friends of farmers, people from different other professions that support farmers. And we were overwhelmed by the numbers. Within less than 24 hours, we had to create a community so that we could be able to accommodate more people. Kenyans who are just coming up to say we want to stand in solidarity with farmers to say no to these bills. So we are going to have another space with them on Monday, and to be able just to hear what Kenyans, these many Kenyans who have shown interest have to say. And then on Tuesday, we are going to hold a media conference with various media houses and a few interested parties in Nairobi at the Clarion Hotel. And we will be able to chart the way forward of how we are going to. A team of lawyers have already volunteered to be able to take legal action against these bills, and we will be able to chart the way forward. Just do everything that we can do to be able to protect the common mwananchi and our food sovereignty as a country. So when you see our channels, the campaign is dubbed Kilimo cha Haki, and it is what is now going out there. So you will see a lot about Kilimo cha Haki, and when we hold the media conference on Tuesday morning, we will be telling Kenyans, breaking it down one by one, what these bills hold for us and why we think they should be relooked at for the best interest of the country and the common mwananchi who is involved in farming in the villages. So that's what we are up to. Thank you very much, KOT, for this chance, and all the people on board. Let's team up together and sustain this protest spirit all the way to be able to bring change in this country. The change that we need lies with us. And if we don't fight for it, if we don't do it, if we don't step out and do all the heavy lifting and the dirty work that is required to do it, nobody will do it for us. Yeah, I was telling my friends that whatever it takes now, where we have reached, whatever it takes, we must be able to be willing to do it, to be able to bring the change we want. If it will require people to organize themselves in civics, in justice centers and civil society groups, be willing to do that. If there are people who can organize themselves politically to be able to fight towards that change, do not hesitate to go in that direction, because we know that even in as much as we can fight and we can agitate and we can do all these things, ultimately, the ballot is coming in 2027. And if we are not careful, these people will use the stolen resources that have, the state power that they unleashed against us during the revolution, the political experience that they have. If we do not organize ourselves properly, we may end up in a worse situation. And you can imagine if Ruto is treating us like this in his first term, when he still expects to be elected in 2027. How worse would this regime be if they were supposed to get a second term, when they're not looking forward to any election, but just to finish and go? So we must wake up and do all that it takes. If it will require us to go back to the streets at some point in time to put more pressure, be willing to do that. If it requires you to step out of your comfort zones, like I stepped out of my comfort zone. I have had a lot of my friends challenging me, Duncan, you are too young. You still don't settle. Don't be comfortable with what you're doing at the university. Step out of class. One politician told me, Duncan, what are you doing in class? Step out. If you will stay in class, and this country will be unsustainable for you. Because even right now, we were fighting for money, we are fighting for pension, we were fighting for medical cover. Imagine you are a lecturer, you have taught, I know Professor Kibwana here taught in the university. I saw his post, he was saying 25 years before, and now he's back. A professor who has been in the university maybe for 30 years, 35 years, then you are told that your pension fund has collapsed when you are just at the verge of retirement. And all these years monthly, your deductions are taken for pension. The government is supposed to contribute and the university is supposed to contribute a similar amount. You multiply that by 35 years for all the 1,700 staff we have at TUK, and you are told that those deductions did not end up at the pension fund, and ultimately the pension fund collapsed. So those are the kind of atrocities, the kind of messes that people in power are doing. Yet we have just been quiet in our comfort zones as the middle class. So we must arise, do everything possible that we can do. And for me, out because I got the challenge and I said, I will, whatever it takes, I will do so that we can be able to get there. So thank you very much, Keoti, and may God bless us as we continue with the fight. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Duncan, and may God bless you for the good work you're doing. And I really appreciate, guys, if you don't know Duncan, I met him on this platform. And remember, during Nane period, we were doing some fundraise to bring people to Nairobi for the protest. And personally, I brought a lot of people from outside Nairobi. Some of them came from Nyanza, others from Coast, others from Mount Kenya, and so there are some guys that who popped in Nairobi at 1 a.m. Yeah, because they had missed some their first vehicle, and so I had to pay for them the other vehicle. And when they popped in, I wasn't ready to even accommodate them because I had already given out the accommodation spaces to those who came earlier, na zilikuwa zishaisha. And so I posted on this platform that I want someone to help me accommodate some people. And so Duncan called me on my WhatsApp number. It was at 2 a.m. And he said, give them my number. They can come at my place. We don't know those people. He don't know them. He don't know me. We've never met. And so I just believed him. And so he accommodated those people. Hey, anyway, easy my space bana tunakutana tu. So Mweru, good evening. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know.
It's still morning here, so good morning. So thanks for hosting the space. I've been trying to keep up with everything. I'm 13 hours behind, but I really wanted to just thank you guys. I've been following what you and Morara and the team are doing. I just had a conversation with some comrades here in the diaspora, and they have started following you guys, and they're also in shock of the things that you guys are basically exposing. So, I mean, we really appreciate your efforts and everything you guys are doing. I know you're basically literally sacrificing your lives by doing this, because we know what kind of animals we have in office. So we don't take it for granted. But, I mean, it just saddens me. I mean, it really is a sad situation, to be honest. For the guys that are here that are in the diaspora, I'm personally in the United States. And when you live in a country where, I mean, let me just first of all just put it out there. There's no perfect system. There's no country that runs perfectly. But when you live in a country where things actually work and function like they're actually supposed to, the roads are built and maintained like they're supposed to. And then videos of roads whose monies have been designated and just stolen. And these people have no shame. They have no shame. They have no regard for human life. They have no respect for Kenyans whatsoever. We understand they're morally bankrupt. We don't expect them to operate in any essence or any form of character, because they don't have any. They're completely depleted of any form of decency. And they just steal the money, and they can just live their life watching people around them suffering while they're stealing and stealing and stealing. This really, I cannot even wrap my mind around this. We're trying to calculate how much money they have stolen. We can't even keep up. And to me, my request is, what if they just don't steal from Kenyans for 1 year? Just 1 year. Just 1 year. Like 1 year they don't steal from Kenyans. If every day we're losing 2 billion in corruption, if they just don't steal for 1 year, we're going to have at least 730 billion. If they don't steal for us, and they can put that money into the roads. Seriously, how do they expect Kenyans? How? And then they have the nerve to come here the other day. I hope he has gone back to Kenya, because I don't even understand what he's doing in the US. I don't understand how we have a president who is stealing constantly and then wasting money. It's like he does not understand that every time he makes a trip, he is wasting more money, and then on top of that, he's going to still go back and steal. Like, they have no form of decency. It's just disgusting. It just pisses me off all the time. Like, we need to get them out of office, and we don't just need to get them out of office. We need to get them out of office and throw them in prison. And I think even throwing them in prison is basically just being nice to them, because they deserve the capital punishment. How do you see people suffering? The hospitals are not built. The roads are not built. All the infrastructure is going to shit, basically. Education is a joke. And they have the nerve to board a plane and come here to the US to make a speech to the UN. Like, that is so important. I mean, come on. This guy, he just irritates me. Just how, I mean, they just misappropriation. He has no priorities. Like, the human life in Kenya, he has no time for it. So, I mean, I agree with one thing that I love I think it's the previous speaker that mentioned that, especially with these bills that they're passing and trying to pass, that we need to put a stop to, that you guys are having a press conference to educate people. I love this, because we need to just do whatever we can at this point. And there's one particular bill that they passed that we need to really pay keen attention to. I hosted a space, co-hosted rather previously, about a week ago, and we were discussing the IEBC. And after that, I advised people, we need to read this IEBC Act of 2024 that Ruto signed. because all these bills that they're passing obviously are for malicious agendas. And as we proceed with the civic education, I hope people will start fighting. I mean, to get this IEBC up and running, because we need to start recalling some of these idiots we have as MPs that are not serving us. All these people who are proposing these bills that are just meant to just rob and suppress and oppress Kenyans, we need to recall all of them. So while we have these conversations about civic education, we need to figure out a way to get the IEBC up and running. I'm starting to really get very worried about this. So anyway, let me just be quiet for now and keep listening. But I just thank everybody who is trying their best to play their part, everybody who is actually even making an effort to play their part, whatever it is that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's going to have to be a teamwork. Even if we're in the diaspora, we have a role to play here in this.
Okay, so thank you, Meru. I wanted to bring Toria, but I just want to go through your comments. I can see Anthony is saying, adding on to what Kioti Sonko and the team are doing at the grassroots, each of us in these spaces spread across the country and across the world must act as multipliers of needed civic education with those we interact with continuously. Grassroots is where we all reside. And then kuna Msena Mangombe saying, we shall do like Martin Luther King. If you can run, run. If you can run, run. If you can walk, stroke. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scream it out. Any of these are steps and will be felt. Alafu kuna admin anaitwa Aaron Adimao. He's saying, Ushago nimeona chiefs wamewekwa na rada about this livestock bill. And we have Vamineta the Guna is saying, how does civic education eradicate illiteracy, poverty, joblessness? Because these are the three pillars of politicians' stronghold on power. Kuna anaitwa Mwaniki J.O. is saying, Kioti Sonko and Namorara, welcome Ukambani. Yeah, we'll come there soon. And if he's also asking that you should follow him. He has only 40 followers. And then I can see Believer saying, Kioti, can you add your number so that we can send you kidogo to support you? Hey, you guys should support me, bana. Leo karibu tukwame mahali and someone